welcome to another coffee break. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying a good cup of coffee. You know, there's always a time in the day where you're just like, I need to just get my mind off of things. I need to reset. And you go and you have a cup of coffee. And it's always great and delicious. And so here we are again. Welcome to another episode. Don't forget, this falls under the Failed podcast umbrella. Subscribe to our channel. Do it again. Subscribe, and thank you. Leave a comment. Follow us on Instagram. All of our links are below. Here we go. Here's to a good episode. Today, it's quite easy. Ask yourself this question. When was the last time that you just sat down with a friend and no agenda and you just talked? You just vented. You just vented. You laughed and you just learned about each other. And so today, this is just like a reminder that sometimes we need to pull away from everything. Find a moment, give your friend a call and say, hey, what are you doing? Let's meet up for a cup of coffee and let's just talk. And so yesterday I met up with a friend of mine and we shared some coffee and some great conversation. We got to talk about life. Well, here you go. Like, what do you do during these instances, right? I've known of instances like this from other people, talking to other people, where they meet up with someone and one of the individuals is super excited, super hype about something, which is fine. You know, I always hope that, you know, those that are my friends and people around me are always up to something amazing that keeps them excited. But whenever you're meeting up just to release, right, through conversation and just spending time with a good friend, it's not a good time to make yourself the center of attention. Suffocating a conversation can take away from the whole purpose of hanging out with someone, because it's good for your mental health. It's good for there's no actual reset button, but that's how you begin to press the reset button. And so there's a lot of instances where people come together and one individual, it becomes about them. It becomes about, and forgive me if I choose the wrong word, but like, feel sorry for me, feel proud about me, be about me in this conversation. And there's a time and place for that, right? If you call someone and say, hey, let's hang out. I got some great stuff to hang out. I got this great project I'm working on. I just want to share with you and kind of talk about it a little bit. And you're like, yeah, you know what? I got some time. And so when you meet up, you already know, that's going to happen. And I think that's okay. As for the conversation and the coffee break I had with a friend of mine, it went really well. The conversation was really balanced. There was interest from both ends. And so that's important, is that the questions asked this way and the questions are asked this way. We get to laugh. We get to learn about each other. And you got to continue to move the conversation along, because you want to catch up with someone. And it includes, because sometimes some things are so pressing. Some things are so on the tip of someone's mind or on the tip of someone's stress that if you're not careful in those conversations, that is what the time will be about. It'll be only about why this happened or why that happened, and that is it. And so it like I said a while ago, it's not the individual that necessarily hijacks the conversation, but it's the topic. And so there has to be an exchange of topics and subject matters in these hangouts. And so how do you do that? In your head, you have to have a checklist where it's like, okay, I'm going to talk about life. I'm going to talk about marriage. I'm going to talk about kids. I'm going to talk about work. I'm going to talk about spirituality. I'm going to talk about some stuff from the past. I'm going to talk about some funny stuff. I'm going to talk about some goal setting, some things that we're looking forward to. And I think that that covers an individual's life, you know? And so those are the kind of topics that I like to focus on whenever I'm trying to have a mentally healthy coffee break with a friend. And a lot of us maybe we attempt this, but we've never given it a lot of thought, so that we're more strategic about these meetups. And so I want to encourage you to, reach out to someone that you look up to, you enjoy talking to, someone you feel like you're yourself around, that you can be serious, that you can laugh, and then you can somewhat share some personal stuff and personal details. That's important too, because there's certain individuals where you can't share personal stuff because you just don't, they're not in that place for you. And so that makes the conversation a little bit shallow. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's mainly how we talk to people in general. But whenever you want to set up this environment that I'm telling you, and that I feel that is very necessary, pick someone that you don't mind being open to. Pick someone that you don't mind, like, they're gonna ask me, they're gonna press me, they're not just gonna let me go on rants and stuff. And that's a whole nother funny thing. There's people who will let you say what you say, and it kind of fuels the fire, and then you find yourself just going on and on and on about things that are maybe a little too much or too dramatized. And so that's not good either. Now, there's a small dose of that is good for the confidence, but in this type of coffee meetup that I'm talking about, it doesn't fly. Like, there has to be truth that's being shared. There has to be vulnerability that's being shared. And it's not a therapy session. It's two friends talking and laughing. Like, there could be moments where you just pause and you're just like, okay, I wanted to share this with you. And that's okay. It's not one of those. Have you ever been in one of those conversations where you feel like you can't even take a breath? Yeah, like, because as soon as you do, you're going to lose, you're going to pass the baton, and you may not be able to talk till many, many, many minutes later. And so for me, I try to have these kind of meetups as often as I can. It's not easy. We all have schedules. We all have busyness. And so that's not an excuse. You just have to schedule it. You have to make it happen. And so what did it do for me? It allowed me to share some stuff that maybe I had on my mind. I got to just put it out to see how, I got to kind of be myself, and I got to, see how the other individual responded. It's very good to know how those close to you, those relationships that you're trying to establish to make great friendships, are going to be maintained. And so we're not all in with our drama. We're not all in with all the, hyping everything up. There's a good balance in these conversations that are a lot near to who you really are. And so whenever you show up, I guess when you leave, you have to be able to tell yourself confidently that you were yourself. That you didn't feel like you had to fudge and lie and make up stuff. Like, you felt like you really got to release. And we all know that whenever we get a chance to vent, okay? Venting is like, life sucks, and I hit it last night, and I ran out of toothpaste, and this person sucks, my job sucks, blah, blah, blah. Venting does not make for a great conversation. It does not make for a great, what I'm talking about here. Venting is one thing, okay? And it takes a certain individual to vent to, and you know who those people are. That's not what I'm talking about. This is a conversation that allows the release valve to open up. And when you finish, you feel a sense that this pressure that you had is released because someone heard you out. They weren't there to always attack, always to give you advice and you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. It's simply just conversation. And in the back and forth, there's wisdom and nuggets that are shared. And so I had a great coffee time with a dear friend of mine, and I felt like I needed it. We talked about many things, from family, from work, from church, from just me as a creative, and we just, oh man, it was great. It was great. We laughed, we were serious, and I felt like I got to open that release valve. And so I want to encourage you, if you're watching this, who is that individual for you? And make an effort. Send them a text. Hey, let's set up a time. What time works for you? Let's just get together, talk for an hour, hour and a half. And just no agenda, but for sure a great conversation. Reach out to them, set it up. I think we all need it. I think it's good for all of us. As for my coffee break that I had, and salute to my friend, it was great and needed. And so I'll leave you with that. It's just a simple coffee break today, but I hope that it helps someone. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Coffee Break. Don't forget to, here we go, subscribe. There we go. And follow us on Instagram, and here is my handle right here. There you go. Thank y'all so much for supporting what we're doing here at the Failed Podcast. Stay tuned. We got more on the way, and I hope that you're learning. I hope that you're encouraged by these videos. And you know what I say in a few episodes. Whenever I learn, whenever it's applicable for me, I like to share it because it just might help you. Have a good one and enjoy the rest of your coffee. Let me see if I can do this.